Greetings, welcome Jefficho Films. Travel with me, if you will, to a Canadian science fiction body horror from 1975, done by David Cronenberg. So let's review Shivers. This movie starts out with an ad with narration by Ronald Merrick about a Starliner hotel in Montreal. It establishes this big area around his apartment building. It sounds like a nice place if it wasn't a warmer environment than Montreal. As some guests are arriving out at the hotel being greeted by Mr. Merrick, we see a man wrestling with a girl dressed in a schoolgirl outfit. He strangles her for a bit, then tapes her mouth shut and lies her down on the kitchen table before taking her shirt off. What this scene is actually doing is establishing the what the fuck am I watching vibe, and it's doing that to perfection. Then he cuts her open while we watch Nick and Janie have breakfast. Apparently he's a doctor and he pours some chemicals into her before slitting his own throat. Okay. I mean, I could take some guesses, but let's just let the movie explain it to us. Nick goes to see Annabelle. I guess he was having an affair with her, and she's the schoolgirl, so he walks in and sees the sight and is a little bit disturbed and leaves. Then he goes to work. Merrick talks to the police about Annabelle and Detective Heller, and then he's talking to Dr. Roger St. Luke, and he was told that Hobbs invited him to meet him there, and that's how he found the body. Roger talks to Dr. Hobbs' associate, Rollo, and apparently they've been working on organ transplants, breeding a parasite that can take over the functions of an organ. Nick's not feeling well, and he's got blood coming down his mouth, so he goes home for the day. Roger's back at work in the clinic, which is at the base of this hotel, and that's a nice little service to have for all its guests. And Janine goes there, and she's worried about her husband Nick. Says he hasn't been feeling well, and then he says he's gonna pop by later and check on him. We see that Nick's just having these crazy spasms. That's why stretching's important. Nick gets sick and throws up some blood, and then goes out onto the balcony and pukes up what looks like a parasite that crashes onto the ground and crawls back into the building, into the sewers. And then some woman doing coin laundry seems to get attacked by it. Roger back at his clinic is dealing with a patient who has these lumps on himself, which is similar to Annabelle.
Now you just take your shirt off and the doctor will be in to see you in a minute, okay?
You don't have to go. I'm not shy.
Now don't be a tease, Brad. I'm still working, you know.
Yes, I know.
Janine, all stressed out, visits her friend Bets in the building, and she gets invited to dinner later. I think Bets is into her. We see the parasite on its mystical journey of going into a mail slot, and then Janine gets home to all the lights out, and she finds Nick passed out on the floor, so she helps him in the bed, and then goes into the other room, and he starts talking to his little stomach parasite that's just pulsating in his skin, and he's like, we need to make some friends. And then Janine comes in there, and he's just mean to her. Bets is drinking by herself, and she hears a news broadcast about a murder-suicide in great detail, and she's gonna take a bath with some suspenseful music.
Professor apparently committed suicide by cutting his throat with a scalpel after performing an as yet unexplained operation on a 19-year-old woman. The woman's nude body was found lying on the dining room table.
It seems Rogers has a relationship with this nurse, Miss Forsythe, and he's on the phone talking to Rollo, hearing more about Hobbs' work, and she changes in front of him.
Maybe Hobbs didn't know it, but Annabelle Brown was a pretty popular girl around the Starliner Towers. I've got 3 men here, maybe 4, hosting large, free-moving, apparently pathogenic abdominal growths that nobody I've tried can identify.
Rogers mentions that he had a patient that had contact with Annabelle and has similar growths, and he's worried about this spreading, so he invites Rollo to come check it out. He's worried that Hobbs jumped the human trials a little too soon. Back to Bets in her bath, and the parasite crawls up through her drain. Wouldn't the water start draining? Wouldn't you notice that? How many drinks has she had? Well, it starts crawling up between her legs, and it went there. Rogers and Forsythe are going to have a late dinner because he still has some work to do, and we see the laundry coin lady in the elevator, and she attacks a delivery guy.
I'm hungry for love!
Forsythe is making dinner, and then her apartment's broken into by a sex-crazed man. She manages to stab him with her cooking fork and run, and go tell Roger. Roger goes to check out her apartment and her clothes are thrown everywhere and there's some blood and little bits of what look like the parasite, so he takes a sample of it. We also see another parasite attack an elderly lady, but her friend manages to kill it. The elderly couple runs into Roger and Forsythe decides to go back to their apartment and tend to the old guy's wounds. And then we see the delivery driver is getting a little bit creepy with elevator riders. Nick calls Janine into the bedroom and he comes on strong and a little bit violent, so she manages to escape into the bathroom and put in her contacts. Roger's investigating the parasite and he's attacked by a maintenance man, and although he's not a good fighter, a crowbar helps him achieve a bloody victory. She goes back to see Nick, and we see the parasite coming out of his mouth, so she decides to leave. I mean, it's about time. It's a good plan. Then she goes to see Betts, and Betts turns around in slow-mo. Why? The security guard finds the delivery guy and goes to stop him, but he's pretty useless. The phone lines are cut, so Forsythe decides to go find Rogers and stumbles upon a dead body. Rogers tells Merrick to call the police, and then some people are trying to break into the old people's room. And then Forsythe decides to get into a car and drive, and the sensors won't work. And then the security guard jumps on top of her. Gets freaky. Roger comes to the rescue and he shoots the security guard and drags the body off of her. Then he tries to drive out, but an infected man smashes his vehicle into him because they won't let him escape. They do climb out, and while they're doing that, Merrick is luring a couple into his room of horny people. Betts is trying to comfort Janine, and then she asks her to make love to her.
Club to me, let's kiss, make up, kiss.
Rollo arrives at the building and he goes straight to Nick's room, and he sees that he's just covered in these parasites and he gets attacked, and he manages to rip one off with pliers. Nick senses the death of this parasite and he goes in and he attacks him, killing him. Then Forsythe tells us about a dream she had, and then this happens. Roger ties a scarf around her mouth. Interesting solution. I like it because it doesn't kill her. Then they're attacked by many, and Roger manages to get to Nick's room and finds him on top of a dead Rollo, and he shoots him. And then he leaves, and he wanders into this room.
Come here, Erica. I think you'd really like my daughter, Erica.
For a second there, I thought I was watching a Posnanska film. Roger finds an exit, but zombie horde, so he runs back into the room with the pool, because at least that has 3 women, and one of them Forsythe. And he goes up to her, and she spits a parasite into his mouth. Then everyone leaves and heads out into the world of Montreal to infect others. The end. Obviously filmed in Montreal with a $185,000 budget. It's simple, well thought out concept, established a bunch of characters. I would have liked a few more scenes. Like, I think Janine and Betsy, like, there was obviously something there with Betsy, and I would have liked, I don't know, maybe like some suspense or something. Just build it up more rather than just have it happen. But yeah, obviously they're working with time constraints with the budget and everything. Still, I'm pretty impressed. I would have liked a little more out of Roger. He could have inspired a bit more hope. I was really kind of rooting for him to save Forsythe, but I needed a few more scenes of him trying to save her. That would have been cool. Well, anyways, I mean, this is body horror. This is totally in Cronenberg's wheelhouse.
You're absolutely the most sexy thing alive. Do you want to make love?
I think you're so strange.
You will make love to me, won't you, Janine?
It's got its nudity and implied sex, so yeah, there's that for you too. Well, as always, thanks for watching, and yeah, totally check this out. I'd do it.